director, managing the day-to-day operations, but he says his biggest challenge is keeping kids on the right path, one he followed because of his own experiences. Wesley also serves as the assistant men's basketball coach for Westfield State University and the athletic director for the Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School. Wesley, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to go through a couple of questions here, go through and answer them. Everybody else have any questions, feel free to include those in the chat or just raise your hands. First one is, I just read through a little bit of your career experience. Could you share a little bit more about your career path and how you got to where you are today?
Like you said, I started with the South Community Center as a volunteer, started a basketball program. It was part of my community service as being at Westfield State as an undergrad. So came along, my cousin worked here and a neighborhood friend were kind of running South Community Center along with our mayor, Dominic Sarno. So I asked if I could come in, do some intern work. And then after I was done with college, I came back and they offered me a job to be the athletic director. So I started doing that, implementing different intramural programs, sports programs, things like that. Moved up to program director, then associate director. And about a month after becoming associate director, we had the tornado and destroyed our building. So for about 6 or 7 years, we were displaced throughout the community. And then I was working hand in hand with the executive director. We settled into our building in 2016, and he was offered a job with the City of Springfield in the finance department, and I became executive director from there for the last 3 years. Along my way, I have taken on jobs being basketball coach at New Leadership, Dean Tech, and Springfield Commonwealth Academy. Now I'm at Westfield State as an assistant men's basketball coach. I also am the athletic director at Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School, where I started athletics there, and we've been running athletics for about 6 years now. And recently, last like 3 months, I became the athletic director at Bay State Academy as well.
Well, for those listening at home, Wesley clearly doesn't do much at all on a daily basis. He's pretty low key and stays one track. So as you kind of took us through that career path and all of your multi jobs you're kind of juggling at the time, what are some of your success habits that allow you to successfully manage all your day-to-days for handling so many different types of jobs at one time?
Well, the first thing is being organized. Like I have, there's a lot on my plate. So it's just being able to make sure everything is in the right place, making sure I'm making meetings, set agendas, set deadlines for myself. So definitely got to stay organized for me to be successful. I use my cell phone a lot to keep my calendar intact and all that stuff. So that's number one for me. My next habit is goal setting. I want to be successful. I want to, keep a lot on my plate, and I want to be hands-on in a lot of different things. So goal setting is big for me. Self-awareness. I know who I am. I don't try to go over my limits. I stay to what I'm comfortable with and being the best of what I can do. Keeping a positive attitude. Like I said, I deal with a lot of different entities, so I deal with a lot of different personalities, a lot of different people. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to have that positive attitude and know that this is what I want to do. And the two biggest things also are got to have time to relax, have time to yourself. Don't try to just be, so consumed with everything. Even with all my jobs, I do take time to just relax and, get my mind right. And lastly is a very early start to my day. To be successful, I make it a point that no matter what, I get up at the same time, even if I'm tired, even if I've had a long night, it's staying that schedule, staying that course, and being diligent about my time.
Excellent. So with all our success habits that we all have on a daily basis, it's without a doubt that over some point of our careers we've had and or made mistakes. What are some of the mistakes you've made along the way that you've learned from that have helped you to become a better professional?
The biggest one I would say is enjoying life. I haven't always gone on vacations and enjoyed the rewards of being a hard worker. So um, I think that's the number one thing. And I think we always make mistakes, but using those mistakes as teachable moments. Um, Even though you made some little or big mistake, it's like, okay, well, how did I go about that wrong, and how could I right that? So those are two that I would say.
Excellent. Um, so obviously you're in a leadership role. What do you feel as though it takes to become a good leader, and what are some of those attributes in that?
First is admitting your wrongs. Even though you may be the boss or maybe the leader, you have to own up to yourself and know that you have made a mistake and admit to that mistake, and then learning from that. Communication, huge to be communicative, either verbally or written. It's just big attribute to have. Being able to work in a team, especially in this setting now, where we're all kind of remote, and you have to find people to work with you, is being able to work in a team is key. And the last thing I'll say is developing your skill set. One of my biggest influences is the rapper entrepreneur Sean Carter, Jay-Z, who says everyone has genius level talent in them. So it's finding that genius level and honing it. And I think that's something I try to live by every day.
I'm on mute. I was gonna say I love what you're saying. That's my genius level talent. I haven't realized my ability to unmute myself. But next question would be: what challenges do you think this next generation will have and face as they head into their professional careers?
First, what I would say is anticipating and creating change. Have to be creative and adaptive to the changing times, whether it's technology, priorities that come up. It's going to be a lot of change coming up for this next generation, and just being ready for it, know that it's coming, and getting ahead of that. The next one I would say is stay agile, be self-aware, trust and know your vision, and be vision oriented. And lastly, promoting diversity and inclusion. More now than ever, diversity and inclusion is going to be big. We have a lot of different people coming into the workforce of all different backgrounds, genres, everything. And it's being able to know that you're going to have this, and being ready to promote how valuable that all is.
Absolutely. So if you can go back to when you were 16, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go back to 13.
Okay, I got
13 is when I started high school. So 16, I actually graduated at 17. So would have been a little bit too late, but I'm gonna go back to I was 13, and I would say the biggest thing I would say is I'd go harder in the classroom. Not to say I was a bad student, but I think I could have challenged myself more, took AP classes, more honors classes, and realized how important that would have been to my overall education. So I think I would have just challenged myself more in high school.
Alrighty. Do you have any questions? I don't see anything in the chat, but any questions we have from the classes for Wesley? I'll wait for that, Wesley. Is there any kind of leave behind you want to leave with the students in terms of suggestions or advice as they head on to their professional careers?
Well, one of the things we say to our kids in athletics is win the day, be one to know every day. Everything you do, you want to be one to know. So win everything that you go at, never back down, and just try to be great every day.
That is great. Couldn't agree more. Well, Wesley, thank you so much for your time and your insight for this today. I really appreciate that. I'll let you go get back to the time scheduled day. You got a lot of stuff you got to take care of. It's a pleasure meeting you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Next up at 11:20, we have Ashley from Bella Foodie. I see she joined here already, but we have some time here, so we will be back here in 10 minutes.